Hi, we want to welcome you to the Heights Baptist Podcast. My name is Lee, and I'm the lead pastor here at Heights. And our podcast is designed to really just help you take the next step of faith, no matter what that step is. And our mission here at Heights is to love and to lead all people to a new life with Christ. And so thank you for joining us. Today, I have a very special co-host, Jackie Marcel, who you don't usually sit in this seat.
I don't.
It's
okay that I don't.
It's a rarity, but we sneak you in on times on this. It's usually Matt or Jonathan that kind of fills in, but you are sliding into the co-host seat today. I'm excited about that. That'll be fun because it's been a while since I think you've been on.
It has been a while.
Probably about a year.
Christmas.
Was Christmas? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I was trying to think earlier. Like we did a Christmas episode where, just kind of tools and resources for holiday season and stuff. So if you want to find that, it's in the YouTube channel under our podcast about a year ago.
Okay, right? Yeah, that's right.
So, Jackie, right now we are doing in our church kind of a serve initiative through the month of May. Mm-hmm. And we're just kind of spotlighting here on the podcast each episode a little different ministry. And so if this is your first time picking up, we talk with Pastor Matt about worship ministry, how that works, why it's important, how people can plug in. Our last episode was Pastor Jonathan with our youth ministry. Mm-hmm. And today you're in the chair because right now you're the interim director of our children's ministry. Right. And I know your normal role is preschool, mm-hmm. and then Caroline Durham, our minister of children's, transitioning to another role, and now you are like in charge, right? So you're kind of overseeing all that right now, and so today we're going to combo children and preschool. All right, that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's look and just kind of maybe let's take a step back and to think about children's ministry. And so when we say that, we're going to talk about children and preschool all at the same time.
Sure.
Why have that in a church? Like, why have that ministry? Why is it important for churches to have children's ministry?
Children are a priority to Jesus. So in Matthew 19:14, it says, "Let the children come to me, mm-hmm. And don't turn them away." Right. And for such things belong to the kingdom of mm-hmm. heaven.
Right.
So that verse proves that the children are as important as everyone else.
Yeah. No, that's good, because that's a good verse to think about, because Jesus is teaching in that passage, and the parents are bringing their kids to Jesus to bless them.
Right.
Who wouldn't want that happening?
Right. And
it's the disciples that are like, no, Jesus doesn't have time for that. Jesus doesn't have time for those little kids. Mm-hmm. And then of course it's like, no, this is how you receive the kingdom like a child. This is who I'm passionate about with kids. And so why else serve our kids? You're right. That's Jesus loves our kids. We need to love our kids, right? But why else kind of serve? What's important in serving in that way too?
Another reason, why we should serve our children is because you get the young families, right? So I have 4 young ones. Well, they're not so young anymore. But one of my main purposes is to find a church that love my kids.
Yeah.
I want them to connect with their teachers because I want them to feel safe in this environment. Because ultimately is the relationship that they're going to create with Christ.
Sure.
So if they have that loving relationship with their teachers or the volunteers that come in mm-hmm. To serve them, they're going to see what love looks like.
Yeah.
So then that turns over to, hey, I can trust these people. Right. They love me, and they're showing me and teaching me truth.
Yeah.
So I can trust that this truth is true.
Right.
So it's comfortable for the children for us to serve the children, so it reaches them, but ultimately it reaches their family as well. So it opens up that avenue for unsaved parents mm-hmm. or that.
Yeah. Usually where the kids go, the parents follow.
Exactly. Yeah, that's in every aspect I've learned. So
every aspect of life, because you mentioned you have 4. Uh-huh. But now kind of break down your family for us if you want to. So
sure.
Talk about that, because I know y'all been here for a while on
that. We have been here for a while. And each one of them started like 2 weeks of birth here at Heights. So my oldest is 15, and so she's a freshman this year, and she's
Yep.
been in youth since 6th grade, or she's been in this ministry since, like I said, a baby.
Right.
And then I have my second one. My first one's Haven. My second one is Lila, and
Yeah.
she's 13. So she has, well, she's been here, so all of them have
Yeah.
been here. So she serves in youth also. My 5th grader this year is 11, and she is super excited that next year she gets to go to the youth house.
Yeah.
Yes, she's been looking so forward to that, and I'm super excited that she gets to experience those teachers that volunteer over there.
Right.
So that's Avery, and then my youngest is a boy, and his name is Jake, and he's in 3rd grade, and he
Right.
is enjoying
Yeah.
the children's ministry,
Yeah.
Sunday mornings, Wednesday
Right.
afternoons, every aspect of it. He's
Yeah.
excited about it. So,
Yeah, that's cool. No, I'm excited to see them continue to grow. I've been here 5 years, and so I was able to be on a mission trip over spring break
Right.
with Lila and Haven, and they did awesome. And Jake and Avery are just like the spark plugs. They're always moving and going, and
Definitely.
so it's fun to just kind of see them go through those ministries. And I like what you said, because that children's ministry gives you kind of the foundation for the kids to keep growing in,
Right.
growing in relationships, whether it's with friends, whether it's with teachers, kind of making those connections. Because you and your husband, Kenny, y'all have been at Heights for a while.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we were talking a little bit before this started, and I was surprised. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah.
So take us through the love story of Heights.
So my husband has been here since 2nd grade.
Okay.
And what did I say, 26 years?
Yeah, about 26 years.
So
Yeah.
when I was probably about 16. And didn't really get involved until we had children. That's another perfect
Yep.
example.
Yep.
I had been coming to this church since I was 16, but
Yeah.
never really got involved until I started having my own kids.
Right.
And then the opportunities for me to serve
Yeah.
arose, and I stepped into those. But not only teaching the kids, but I had to teach myself what I was teaching those kids.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
it was really not. I know now that God was working on me. And I thought I was working on the kids, but
It goes both ways.
It happens that way.
Yeah, it goes both
so,
ways.
So one Sunday I came to church, and that's what it was. We would come to church on Sunday mornings, and I was sitting on the back row because that's what we do, right?
Sure.
And I left a seat open because I was expecting a friend to come in, and hoping that would work out. And it didn't work out the way
Right.
that I planned,
Sure.
but it worked out the way God plans.
Yeah.
Because as we were sitting there, I got a tap on my shoulder, and I looked back, and it was Kenny, my now husband, asked if the seat was available. And
Yeah.
I said yes. So he sat there, and that's where it all started.
There
The
you
funny
go.
thing about it is that his parents were actually sitting in the row in front of us
Yeah.
and left a seat open, but he chose
He
to sit next to me.
chose sit next to
Yeah.
you. There you go.
So that's where it started. And I just really, really, really enjoy the fact that we started here, because I have gotten to see my children start in the baby room, and now
yeah.
a freshman in high school
Yeah.
in the youth house,
Yeah, yeah.
And I've seen their growth. And sometimes it just amazes me to see my older ones just have such a passion for the Lord
Sure.
and want to share.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
and it's
neat.
because of the people that serve,
Right. Yeah.
And we had an appreciation dinner for some of our volunteers, and there's a couple of ones that I highlighted.
Yeah.
And I don't think during the time that I was bringing them to childcare, because at this point I was excited to drop them off to
You
have
got 'em
somebody
for an
else
hour.
watch them.
Yeah.
Yes. But now being in the position that I'm in,
Yeah.
I saw how important it was for those roles
Sure.
to pour into my children.
Oh, yeah.
And how important those volunteers took
Right.
watching my kids. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just watching my kids, it was pouring into my kids, and it was super intentional.
Yeah.
And they are intentional about what the kids like, how they act,
Yeah.
and how they're going to connect with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, and I
that's
mean
neat.
it's and that's a cool story, because not only have y'all been involved in, Kenny serves in a lot of other ways in the worship ministry and things. You've served really from like a childcare worker,
Right.
now to this role of being in charge.
Right.
Of
Yeah.
it all.
I've thought
so
about that.
so over the years, you've kind of been in a lot of various roles through that ministry, and
Right.
that just thinking about those volunteers, and one comes to mind because we've talked about her before, Linda. Linda, who taught Kenny.
Yes.
And Linda's still teaching kids now.
Yes.
Which is so cool to me, because when you think about the importance of children's ministry, a lot of research shows really about 80 to 90% of people who come to faith in Christ really do it in their childhood years.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that an adult can't come to know Jesus or any of that, but I just think of it this way: the more you say no to God, the harder it is to say yes to God.
Mm-hmm.
So the older you get, the harder it becomes.
Right.
You've
got so many other influences at that point.
And I think, now, just in the culture and environment we're in now, the children's ministry and student ministry, like Jonathan and I talked about, it just plays such a vital role, because these kids are getting so much different information at younger ages through all kinds of different avenues than when you and I grew up.
Right.
Which wasn't long ago. I mean, like, I know we're not dating ourselves. I know some of our viewers have been like, okay, she's been here for 20.
I said too many numbers earlier. I was like, whoops.
Some are doing the math. That's cool. Don't do the math. But but that's important, because now, we didn't have social media growing up. We didn't have all those other avenues that kids are just getting flooded with all kinds of things. And so even at an earlier age, they're seeing pornography earlier. They're having gender identification conversations as an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old. And it's like, I was out playing with sticks and hitting a baseball at 8, you know what I mean? But like, this is their world. And so I think it's heavy. That's a good word. And so I think that's what's important about our children's ministry and the roles of those volunteers, because I like to think of it this way too sometimes is, Billy Graham was once a kid who went to Sunday school, and somebody taught Billy Graham.
Yeah.
Yes.
The role is that important.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, somebody led Billy Graham to Christ, and then God calls him to be Billy Graham for and so who knows what kids are back there right now on a Sunday morning, maybe future pastors, missionaries, who knows, and so I think sometimes people say, well, the children are the future of our church, which is true. But they're our church.
They are.
Like
they're
right now our church,
right.
and so they deserve a lot of attention and good people helping. So let's look at kind of we kind of answered really why is it important for people to serve. So if somebody's interested in serving, how do they do that? How do they find a role? And I know kind of preschool ministry, children's ministry, like how do they find a role in?
Right.
Yeah.
So we launched our initiative on volunteers, and so we have a booklet now that lays out all of our needs, and all of our needs, but all of our opportunities as well.
Right.
So connecting with whatever minister that is available to find out what they need. I mean, as of right now, COVID kind of put a kink in a lot of things.
Right.
So things have not maybe gotten back to where they used to be before COVID, but that's slowly happening now.
Right.
So, just getting that booklet and looking through that, or asking somebody, what opportunities. So now I have been the preschool director, and I'm in need 9 and 10:30 both.
Yeah.
I haven't opened the baby room since COVID.
Right.
So having that time available, even up to the kindergartners, and now looking at what our elementary hall looks like, and what who volunteers there. Life circumstances happen.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, our volunteers need to move on for that season, maybe circle around and come back. But there are opportunities for others to step up in their roles. I'm a huge advocate on not staying in a role if God has not called you to that role, because then there's somebody else moving up to take that position. Because if someone wouldn't have moved on, I would not be where I am today.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Good. So they can get if they're in person, they can get the green booklet. Online, they can go to our website, and so you can go to heightschurch.org/serve right now and find some of that info, and then they can call the
Come to me.
office
Yeah.
and talk to you.
I am-
Jackie, put me in
Yeah.
wherever you need me.
And
Those are the calls we need, right?
I will find a spot
Yeah.
because there's always a spot. And,
There's always,
and
yeah.
it's different, you know. I'm wanting to open up a music time for the preschool down the
Right.
preschool hallway that we haven't done before. But
Yeah.
I know there are some teachers that love doing that. And
that's cool.
opening that
Yeah.
up. And,
Yeah.
and not even Sunday mornings, but Wednesdays.
Right.
And, different times.
So it's not always just a lead teacher. We've talked about like Linda, who's a lead, but you know, maybe assistant. We've got some areas where you can be assistant teacher, or maybe somebody helping with music,
Right.
or Wednesday night, you know, our midweek services, kind of, you know, various roles there. So it's a lot of different roles that you need in a lot of ways.
And
yeah.
even coming by and getting curriculum together, you know, pulling that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different roles. that you
Greeters
can
in the
pull.
lobby on a Sunday morning. or
Check-in
Wednesday.
people
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
lots
there's a lot of different roles. No, and that's good because I think the one thing I was looking at the other day is in the month of April, we were able to capture 10 guest families' information. You know, not everybody always fills out the card, but you know, like 10 families did. 8 of those families had children.
Yeah.
You know, that was just April. Some of those families that they just didn't come once, they're coming, you know, and then already in May, we've had, I think, 2 or 3 new families.
Right.
And so we're starting to kind of bust
Definitely.
and you know, in those hours.
The harvest is there.
Yeah,
For,
yeah, and so
children.
it's neat to see that, and we want to do really well with these kids and these new families, because like you said earlier, which is something to remember, is it's not just serving a child, it's serving the family, you know, because maybe those parents aren't saved, or maybe those parents just, I mean, they've had hard weeks and they need that worship hour. And I do not mean away from their kids.
Well, I was like,
You know,
I know
they
when
need
my
a break.
My
I
kids
mean,
were
yeah.
baby to 6. I was ready for that worship time for myself.
Or they need to get in an adult life group to connect with other adults. I mean, like so when you serve in the kids area, it's not just serving a 5-year-old. I mean, it's serving mom and dad.
Absolutely.
It's serving a lot of different ways, and so it's a blessing that really extends out.
Yeah.
in
It
a
was
lot of-
really exciting. I met a new family that came this past Sunday. And, you know, I just was talking to her and kind of getting to know her. And I asked her, you know, how did she find out about Heights? And she said because of a homeschool page.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
the homeschool
Yeah.
page led her
Right.
to come to Heights because we had families that
That's
come
cool.
here. So
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
she was coming to Heights
Yeah.
for her kids,
Yeah.
you know, and then I was able to connect with her and,
Right.
you know, have her connect with another
That's
lady.
good.
So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, very good. Well, thanks so much for sharing with that today. I really appreciate it. You did a great job.
Yay, thanks.
We'll have you back.
I survived.
Yeah, you survived. We'll find another time for you to come back, and I'll ask you harder questions
Okay,
next time. Yeah,
sounds good.
But listen, I appreciate you joining us today as well, and we'd love for you, if you are involved in the life of our church, to find out more ways that you can serve somebody else. That's one of our values here at Heights, is to serve other people, to help them come to know the love of Christ and to be led in a relationship with Jesus. And so you can find out more on our website, heightschurch.org/serve. We would also, if you're in our area, love to see you in person on a Sunday morning. We have life groups at 9 a.m. and a worship service at 10:30 a.m. We also stream that 10:30 service on Facebook and here at our YouTube page. So make sure you click the subscribe button or the like button there on Facebook to stay current with all of our digital content that comes out. And until we see each other again, God bless.